Welcome back. We got a newbie here. Johnny,
I am new.
Johnny Flavin. How are you, Johnny?
I'm doing good, Ben. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, my pleasure. You know, you've been in the financial service industry for quite a while.
Too long. I think since 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all I know how to do, straight out of college. And I did a postgraduate program working with inner city kids. And then after that, right into financial planning.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Boston College.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So, you really work to kind of coordinate the efforts of a lot of team members in really executing and implementing financial plans.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk a little bit about, we hit on trying to find a financial planner earlier with Tom. And, I'm interested to kind of hear more about why you feel like this process is really important and how that process should look.
Well, I think one of the easiest analogies to make is that there's a lot of products and service. You guys touched a little bit about as far as, TD Ameritrade and Vanguard funds and everything. There's a lot of good product out there. So there's, you can go out there and find all of these great products and materials. But imagine kind of when you're building a house, you could find the best contractor. You could find the best nails, the best wood, the best, tile, Italian granite tile or whatever you want out there. But if you don't have a good set of plans to put all of this together, they're just going to slap it all together and probably build you something that you may or may not even want. So the idea is that if I put together some sort of blueprint of my financial future, I want to start with that and then fill in with all these pieces and materials as necessary.
So you kind of, as I guess a good way to think about it, is you're trying to be the architect,
correct,
of a plan. And then you go out and you find the wood and the nails that build the financial house.
And let me even take that one step further. What you actually are kind of doing, and this is, dovetailing on what Tom said as far as finding a good financial planner, you're actually maybe just hiring the good architect. And basically you are sitting there, all your goals and dreams and aspirations, you're just telling this architect, you're saying, hey, listen, I want to retire at, 55 and I want to have $100,000 a year to live off of and have this vacation home here and this and pay for 4 kids' colleges. And so the architect is going to sit down and try and draw up those plans, that financial plan, to get you from point A to point B. What we call gap analysis is simply saying, okay, you're here at point A, you want to get to point B, and whether that's, reaching age, 90 and having all of your bills paid forever and ever and ever, and filling that gap analysis. So the architect really more so is the person who's going to help you build this plan.
Is that maybe a misconception? Because I think a lot of people consider they're managing all my money. But really, you guys are in some ways, doesn't a financial planner work with different funds that have money managers and you become more of like a financial coach or architect? Is that,
Yes, actually, yes to all of the above. And what I mean by that is most of the financial planners out there probably work, various different fund families, bond managers, things like that. There are some, financial advisors out there that actually do nothing but their own picks. So your portfolio will have nothing but their stock picks, their bond picks, their ETFs, things like that in there. So now that particular type of financial planner or wealth manager is definitely going to be a little bit more in the minority, but a financial planner could use all of the above. And to be fair, most definitely a lot of financial planners to a certain extent, or at least to a piece of your portfolio, will probably be using, like Vanguard funds or American funds or whatever as your portfolio. Because certain things you can only be so many good at so many things. And so I'll just use an easy example. International stocks. We're not sitting down, watching the international markets all night long, things like that. We might have a pick or two here of a company that we like, but to have true international exposure, we're going to use a good international fund.
I would imagine, and we talk a lot at length on this show about things are so hyper specialized, and
right.
You can be really good at coaching somebody to reaching their goal. That doesn't mean that you're watching the Brazilian wood market and figure out a company that's down in Brazil that, that might have a good return.
Right. And think about it this way. What we're trying to do is we're basically, when we're picking all these funds, like the good Brazilian wood
wood. That's green, isn't it?
Exactly. The Brazilian wood tree fund, coupled with the London walnut fund, things like that. When we're putting all of these together, you're trying to create a good baseball team that they work well together. And so they're going to win a lot of games consistently. You know, he might not be the absolute best catcher in the entire world, but he's going to do a good job. You know, your first baseman, you know, he might not be the best first baseman in the world, but he hits a lot of, you know, singles and doubles.
You sound like a little Moneyball over there.
Exactly.
You take 9 Scott Hatterbergs, huh?
Exactly. Right. And you really would, in the sense that you want to put together this kind of all-star team that works really, really well. They might not be individually the absolute all-star, because one of the mistakes people make is they'll say, oh, I'm going to put half of my money into this fund because it's a Morningstar 5-star fund, and that's just got to be the best place to put my money. Well, but when you put it together with other funds, there might be a lot of crossover, you know, overlay as far as what they're buying, things like that. So what you really want to do is put together your kind of all-star team pick that's going to be most effective to accomplishing those goals and you know, getting me the reward that I want while mitigating the risk that I'm taking.
Do you think that, I mean, when you talk about all-star players, I feel like you're talking kind of about funds and investments. What about the other pieces of the puzzle as far as people to work with in different parts of a financial plan?
You mean as far as like their accountants and their attorneys?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's where I believe that a true wealth manager is going to have their, you know, be worth their weight in salt, you know, as far as making sure that, and this is where, you know, tying back into what Tom was talking about earlier, you know, working with a true CFP, it's not that the CFP can do everything, but they have enough knowledge base to say, hey, you know what? In our last conversation, you were talking about, you know, your child unfortunately is disabled and, you know, you're worried about who's going to take care of them. You know, I think this is a good time that we sit down with an attorney and put together, you know, a trust, you know, to take care of this disabled child, you know, some sort of special needs trust. And that's where a good, you know, a true, what I deem true financial planner / wealth manager is going to be able to identify those things. Hey, you know what? Last couple of years, you've been getting killed on your taxes, and you've been going to, you know, some little chop shop, you know, down the street to get your taxes done. I think that let's go and find you a good CPA to bring them into the mix. And also that's where that, you know, that financial planner really is that hub. He's kind of the quarterback. And again, I don't know why I'm going with all these sports analogies.
Because you're a sports fan.
There we go. You know, going back with the analogy where it's our responsibility. Think about it this way. Here's a great analogy. You're the coach. The client, you're the coach. You tell me, hey, listen, I want you to go and somehow get the ball down the field 20 yards on this play. I'm the quarterback. I'm responsible for using all these team members as necessary, the attorney, the CPA, the mortgage broker, whatever it might be, and executing those plays as best as I possibly can with all those team members to achieve, you know, obviously the eventual goal of hitting that touchdown, you know, hitting your retirement goals and so forth.
And I think that's a great way to put it, because they are like a football play. It's pretty complex.
Sure, absolutely. And you know, I love the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. And the more you learn about financial planning and the more you do these continuing educations and get more of these designations, the more you realize, hey, listen, if one of the best things I can do as a true financial planner is say, you know what? You've got some serious issues going on here. Let's bring some experts in that are good at this. Hey, let's go find a tax attorney that really knows how to help us, you know, get you out of this mess and things like that. Or, hey, you know what? Your mortgages, I've never seen a mortgage with so many fees and high rates and things like that. We need to go out and get a great mortgage broker to do an analysis and figure out, you know, what we can do there.
Certainly.
That was a good plug for you, Ben.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I need plugs. Johnny Flavin, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you'll come back just so I can say your name more on the radio.
There we go. Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate it.
And you'll stick around. We'll be right back after this break. Bring everybody back.
Thanks so much.
Ask some questions about what are some of those red flags if you don't have a Wes, a Tom, or a Johnny in your life that you need to look out for before you hire somebody. We'll be right back after this break.